Macintosh D, we are going to you first. Unmute yourself, please.
Hello, guys. Can y'all hear me?
Yes. How are you?
Macintosh, what's going on, brother?
I'm fine. How y'all doing?
I'm good. Good to hear your voice.
All right. The question I have is for both of you guys. When y'all started investing, what is one thing that keep y'all motivated to not give up?
Oh, I gave up when I first started. Let me be real with you. I gave up. Like I was the same with kudos to my guy Art. Like, man, I hit 2 easy wins. Thought I knew everything. Everybody who's trading knows the story. The next 8 trades was terrible. Oh, but man, this is a scam. The scam was me not doing what I was supposed to do and not being disciplined. What brought me back to it is not wanting to depend on anybody. I mean, I've told the story 1,000 times about the lady who took the 80,000 who didn't pay me that. But it ended up being a blessing because I never wanted to be in a position where someone could tell me how to take care of my child. So that's when I was like, okay, great. Let me go all in. There's something there. And also too, like when I went through the Forbes 400, because I love marketing, love marketing and advertising is like my thing. But when I looked at the list of like Forbes 400, because I'm doing deductive reasoning, Sir Martin Sorrell was the only one that owns WPP, and WPP owns everything. He's like the Lucian Grange of advertising. He was the only one at the time on a billionaires list. When I looked at financial services and hedge funds, there were people I'd never heard of that accidentally made like 2.2 billion. I'm like, I need to go play in this playground because I'll do better. So a little bit of deductive reasoning. I wanted to have freedom is what brought me back over here. But in the beginning, like everyone else, I quit too because I thought it was too hard. And because there was no one who looked like us that made it easy to understand. And also too, we have to be real. In the early 2000s and mid 2000s, even in our community, people kept secrets. Like now I get a lot of people like, hey, I should have told you about this 10 years ago. I'm like, I wish you would have. And that's why we do the show every week. But in the early 2000s, or for those of you who started in the late 90s, it was hard as hell to understand investing because every test that you did, you had to put up your money. You couldn't really even paper trade back in the day. But so for those of you that have quit, just get back on the saddle and you'll have your moment. But I think you have to hit a rock bottom before you say, I'm going to go all in on this. I see a lot of people dabbling because the work is going kind of good or business is going kind of good and they're not hurting. And I don't want you guys to hit rock bottom, but often that's what it takes for you to be like, I'm going to burn every bridge behind me to be able to get this down. Rashad, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, what encouraged me to continue was I always knew like there was really no alternative to grow wealth because, you know, I've been like infatuated with the stock market since I was 12 years old. Like I think I told the story a few times, but I always was in love with the stock market and I understood the power of investing at a very young age. So
you saw Trading Places, or what movie inspired you?
Barbarians at the Gate.
Okay.
Wall Street.
Wall Street, yeah.
It was a few movies that really like, you know, I just was really just, to me, it was just way more exciting. It's crazy looking back on it now, but watching like Gordon Gekko was more exciting than like watching, you know, somebody in the NBA because it was like we knew the people in the NBA, like that's all you saw all day. But to see somebody like that was getting that kind of more money and he didn't have to play basketball and he had like a suit on, a pinstripe suit, and he had a chauffeur, and it was just like just dope how they portrayed it to me. I was like, I want to be a businessman, like, you know what I mean, like just the business that just seemed like something that was just like on next level. So I always knew that in order to get to that kind of level, you really couldn't work your way there. You have to invest. I understood that. So that was something that just really encouraged me early on. Even when I took losses, it was like, I took a loss because it was my fault. When anything that happens in your life, you got to take responsibility for. That's a major key. So, you know, when I lost money in any investment, it's because I wasn't properly educated. I took gambles, and it was a learning experience. So I learned from that and educated myself and came back and, you know, realized that, you know, there's no other alternative to building wealth as opposed to just getting income, building a business, and investing. Only way. You got to do it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for your question, Macintosh. Next we
Janet,
have...
but before you go, my apologies. I want to issue a public apology for not showing up. I was hanging with Xander, but I do want to apologize for not being there.
No, I know you mentioned you were with your son, so no worries. And we had a really great conversation. And
I missed it.
No, it's okay. I mean, a lot of the topics you guys talked about today, we covered at book club. We talked about AI and world history. So it was really good follow up. So thank you for that.
I'll be at the next one.
Awesome. Next, we have Jerry Ingram Jr. Unmute yourself, please. We're coming to you.
Guy.
Yo, what up?
My guy with that deep voice and the greatest questions of all time.
Oh, man. I mean, I try. But my question is, in preparation for InvestFest, with me being so young and not really being established in like a specific field, how do I go about bringing value to established professionals at InvestFest?
Can I answer that question, Ian? I'll let you. So one of the things, that's a great question, is like networking. People are afraid to network up. I spoke about this on my call on Saturday. Shout out to Ian for jumping on the call with me on EY University. A lot of time we're comfortable speaking to the people like next to us, but we're not comfortable speaking to the people like up. And one of the reasons why we're not comfortable networking up is that we don't feel like we can add value, right? It's like, okay, this person is successful. This person has a lot of money. I'm on to come up. I can't offer this person any value. That's not necessarily true, because there's a variety of different things that you might be able to do for somebody that you don't realize. So one thing is connections. So you'd be surprised, like there's always at least one person, especially locally. That's why it's important to make sure you network with the people locally. You might have a relationship with somebody who, you grew up, they're your teacher or your godfather or whatever, and they might be a good person for that person to meet. So you might be 18, 19 years old with no money. The person you try and network with might be 50 with millions of dollars. Now, your godfather might be, a CPA that's really, really dope and deals at high level, right? You might be able to connect the CPA with the person. So it's not like you're not connected, but now you're the manager of that relationship. So you've added value by connecting it. That's one way. Another way is to like what Ian does all the time is to say like, how can I help? That's the first thing that you should actually ask somebody, as opposed most people ask like, can you help me? Like they'll hit you in the DM like, Ian, can I get a scholarship? Can I do this? Can I do that? That's really more of a form of charity, and you can only do so much charity in a day. But when you say, how can I be of help? That changes the whole dynamic. So that's another thing. And then also listen. This is extremely important when you're in networking events. If you come into InvestFest and you're around people, you cannot network by talking only. The best way to network is to listen, because if you're only talking, you're not listening to what the person is saying, and you're not going to know how you can be of value. So introduce yourself to somebody, ask them what they do, like interview them, right? People love to talk about themselves. As they're talking and they're explaining their situation to you, then you should be brainstorming on how you can help them. Focus on value. I say this all the time, but the person that really comes to mind in doing this is MG, the mortgage guy, my brother Matt. Matt met me. He never asked me for anything. For over a year, our relationship was based on how can I help you? He was focused on helping me. In return, we have a relationship. He did the same thing with DJ Envy. He reached out to DJ Envy and said, I want to be a sponsor on your tour. He didn't ask them to be on a tour. He said, how can I be a sponsor? Send me an invoice. Yeah. He paid money to be a sponsor. He developed a relationship. Then he started speaking. Now they got a really good relationship, right? So these are things of like, how
he does it with everybody. I mean, to cut you off, this, like even when I was out there, he was like, yo, I would have picked you up and took you to the barbershop. And I'm gonna take you to this piece. I'm like, bro, you don't have to do all, you got a family. Like Matt does that with, like when we went to Atlanta, me and Xander came in late, his wife flagged me down, just talk like giving first helps. So that's why Matt be like, yo, I need anything. Even when, if I be tripping, like Matt's one of the few people, he'll be like, yo, B, you tripping. Like you need to, I'm all right. Cause I know he's coming from a place of love. Like if you just help first a lot, and we do it here. This is why, to be real, this is why I give the picks out for free. You guys be like, oh, Stock Club costs too much. Stock Club, put yes in chat if I've mentioned the same ones in Stock Club and our prices. Let me pay it forward. If I give it for free, you don't value it, you won't execute. That's on you. They know that shit fire. You have to give first. Give first.
With no expectation.
Yes.
That's another thing. Don't give don't give with an expectation because you don't know how you'll be rewarded. It's not up to you. It's not up to you to receive the reward. It's up to you just to give. And then, the law of reciprocity, it'll come back to you. But that's a major key in networking.
Jerry, I think you established, we talked about it on the last club call. I think you just have to pick. I think you have to fearlessly pick what field you want to go to and don't care what anyone else will say. But I wrote some stuff down for you. I need you to pick 5 people that are going to be there and decide what you can do for them and go up to them and tell them. For everyone else, take 3 ideas that you can do for someone and do it for them and present it. So like the thing he said about I'm surprised at the number of you who don't even ask me, hey, can I work with you? And you have a skill set. A lot of it is just, even with Market Mondays, I saw Rashad put a post. He's like, yo, I'm thinking about doing other. I was like, yo, hey, before anybody else get it. Because my thing was like, shit, I thought Trap was already going to do something. So I'm like, but you have to ask. Great. I'm like, let me do my part. I'll do the presentations. You don't have to do nothing. Just you and Troy show up, be happy. I'll be grumpy and get us fired. Perfect marriage, right? Pick 3 ideas that you can do for people and execute them. And then most importantly, I talked about this on a call Saturday, be reliable. It may take a while for it to click, but if you are an app developer, a designer, shout out to Burke, like this thing I asked Saturday, there's not been one time when I've asked Burke to do a flyer, a graphic that he has not delivered. And he's working on like Netflix and like the Kim Kardashian poster that you see on Netflix. He made that. I'll be like, yo, can you make this flyer? It'd be 2:00 in the morning. I get it to you in 2 hours. Send him the money. He'll send the money back. I'm like, no. Like, his reliability is the reason why he keeps being able to work with all these brands. So like, kudos to him. Like, reliability is so key. But if you pick 3 ideas that you can do for a person, and if I was really trying to get on, if it was me, I would go to every speaker, or I would have an idea for me, Rashad, Troy, Trap, 19 Keys, Neo, Jagged Edge, everybody there, and give it to him. Hey, brother, here's an envelope. These 3 things you need to do, and I already did them. Go to the site, download it, and have your team put them in place. Somebody's going to call you back and give you more work. But got to get first.
Never discount the value of in-person experience. I talk about Matt all the time, but another person I talk about all the time is Wall Street Trapper, because it's ironic. 2 years ago, the other day, I put a post up yesterday. I met him 2 years ago in Houston. Wall Street Trapper. That's a perfect example. He came up to me. He flew in from New Orleans to Houston, met us at a networking event that we had in Houston, and introduced himself to me, hand to hand, face to face.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. His life has never been the same since. That's a fact.
Yeah. And if you have good energy like he does, it's hard to be around Trap and be mad and also not be inspired.
Yeah.
Like, even when we was in Tulsa, like, you guys see, I'll be embracing Trap like we just won game 6. Because he was so solid. When I came on the platform, he never was funny. Bro, post this amount of times per day. Get this book. These are the traps you're going to go into. You're going to get hate around this time. When you get to 20,000 followers, you got to deal with, like, he gave me a roadmap. That's why I'm like, Trap. And I'll be begging him still. Like, bro, you should come on every month. Nah, bro, I'm good. I'm like, why not? I want you to be on here. Give first. I'm telling you, that is the core of, for all of you, if you're making less than $200,000 or $300,000 a year in your business, or you're less than $1 million per year gross in your business, I guarantee you're not reaching out to 1,000 people per year to ask them to do something for free. That is where I'm just doing it at scale. You got to take all the criticism that comes with it, because even when I was like, yo, 63 days, he don't know nothing about crypto. Mike Novogratz came on the staff. Give first. If I made you money, put yes in chat, and you're not a stock club. Watch this. The value chain. How many episodes y'all put out of EYL before, like, up to this moment?
EYL?
Yeah.
Right now, 147, 46.
So the entire network in aggregate probably has, 500 episodes?
Yeah. Probably, yeah.
That's the equation. Give.
Yeah. All free. And the last thing I'll say about that, once again, the face-to-face is nothing like this face-to-face interaction.
Yes.
One of the things that really helped us, the first celebrity interview that we did was with DJ Envy. And, DJ Envy, we had been in communications with him through Matt, and he said he was going to do it. But you know how that go. Like, it's kind of like tough. You got to catch people in traffic. So shout out to the good folks at Dykeman. They had opened up a new Foot Locker, and we knew that he was DJing, and I couldn't make it. And I told Troy, like, yo, Troy, you got to go, man. You got to meet him.
Yeah.
Long story short, Troy went to Foot Locker uptown, met him. Mm-hmm. He was like, oh, yeah, I want to do the show. And a week later, we got the interview done. Rest is history. So,
and honestly, that's one thing I learned from you guys too, because when COVID first hit, I was scared. I'm like, I ain't going outside. But when we did the Atlanta meetup, like the reception was so crazy. I was like, damn, like I really that's why I took so much time to talk to every person. I think we was in there like 4 hours. Like I didn't even get to talk to you and Troy until like an hour and a half once I was there. But that in-person time you cannot replace with online activity. I don't care how many funnels you have, how many webinars you run. Like people, I'm gonna be real. For those of you that met me in Atlanta, if you had doubts about me after you met me, you like, no, he living that shit he talk. There's something when you can feel a person's spirit. And shout out to like the young boys who was there, who was like into trading and investing. And they were like going down that rabbit hole. I'm like, man, I wish I was there at 23. Like people want to feel your energy to see if you, it's one of the things like when first time I met Jeezy, first time I met Gary Vee, like you can tell that they're living it. Like if you're from a certain environment, when people are faking the verse, even like when we first did episode 70, he's like, yeah, I see you got the suit on. But like once we got into the content, shout out to the guy who came in with the
Spike Lee, the Spike Lee.
Anyway, but it's one thing for people to talk because everyone puts on a show a best version of themselves, but like, are you talking about it and living it day in and day out? People need to, and that spirit or sense of like discernment that people have, they need to be able to feel you. So you may have a good idea, but they may not believe you. But if they get around you, they may have a different feeling about you, especially for those of you who come from a certain walk of life that can read people very well. That may make all the difference for you. So
there you have it. Janet, let's get a few more questions if we can.
All right. So next we have Pearson Wheatley. Unmute yourself. You're coming in.
Oh shit, another question legend.
What's going
on, bro?
Hey, happy Mondays. I got a quick question. And after the question, I was wondering if I could break down my logic for the reason why I asked the question.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so the question is, if the expansionary policy with the $1 trillion infrastructure bill that President Biden is planning on trying to get passed, I wanted to know what would it do to the short run aggregate supply curve within the next 2 to 5 years. Now, the reason I asked this question is because, bear with me. So on the aggregate demand supply curve, you got 3 curves. The short run supply curve, the long run aggregate supply curve, and the aggregate demand curve. Coming from the school of thought of the Keynesian economics, you know that the aggregate demand curve, it will shift to the right because it's using expansionary fiscal policy. The things that make up that particular policy, well, the demand curve is C plus I plus G plus NX. C is consumption, I is investment, G is government spending, and NX is net exports. So the government spending with the expansionary policy will cause that to shift to the right, which is shifting outward. The thing I'm trying to figure out is the short run aggregate supply curve, because that's basically the curve that is explaining the trade-off between price level and inflation.
Can I give you an honest answer?
Always. This guy is crazy, man.
Pearson, amazing. I'm gonna be real. You got me stumped. This is the first question in the history of the show in which I've been stumped. I'll have an answer for you next week. But your level of research, well, I know Jerry want to have a versus battle, so we got to get a question versus battle between y'all.
Nah, Jerry, the man, he got it.
No, y'all are dope, but like the level of detail and research, I haven't been stumped in a long time. You got me stumped on a clear answer on the spot, so I have one for you next week. That's the hard truth. I don't know.
Ian, I have an answer for you. I will not have an answer for you. I'm not going to. Everybody knows, man. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. But I appreciate I appreciate your level of intelligence. You really take a lot of time in thinking about these very complex situations. You should definitely be like in a government. I feel like you should be in charge of fiscal policy because most people do not have the attention span for that. But
can we ask him what his goal is real quick? And what I think what he's trying to extrapolate to see what the correlation is, like the same way I look at the yield curve, but he's just taking it a couple levels deeper.
So my goal is so I study it's 4 school of economic thoughts. So it's the real business cycle, Austrian economics, monetarism, and Keynesian. So when I was studying it, if you break down to each school of thought, so in March 2020, when the government gave the stimulus, it boosted a lot of people's wealth. But if you study the Austrian economics, then you know that they don't necessarily like government involvement because it creates a wealth gap. So with the real business cycle economics, it's starting a boom and bust. So it's going to boom and then it's going to bust. And that's where you get the Great Depression from if you're looking at those 4 school of thoughts. Mind you, those the 4s that I study, but there's more like Chicago neoclassical. A famous Chicago school of economics thoughts is Thomas Sowell. I want to read his book, Familiarities and Disparities. So I'll get on that later on.
But if you put Benner cycle with Schumpeter, you'll understand the timing. Like your thought process and thesis is absolutely right. The wealth gap thing, that's true. That's the other downside of quantitative easing. But the way that you're thinking is correct. I just don't want to bullshit you and give you an answer. And it's not true. I try to speak on this.
I understand.
What's your Instagram?
I don't have no social media, man.
You don't have social
media. My guy. You're the smartest person I ever heard. Keep it that way.
My neighborhood told me, like when I was growing up, there was a lot of people is alive, but a lot of them is not living. If you don't know the difference, you might be one of them. So that's how I was taught.
Jerry versus Pierce's question battle gonna be insane.
There you have it, man.
This is a great question. But that's an example of giving value. Nikki, Mike, clip that up, please. Yes. It's a great question.
Yeah.
If this how diplomats felt when Jada was going crazy. Y'all ain't got no girl joints. Oh my God.
Did you see Cameron's post that he did the day after?
What did he say?
It was like that meme where like the guy came out like he was like,
oh yeah, man. Like, that's a different kind of pressure.
He's like, well, okay then. Wasn't expecting that one.
No, that's different. Pearson, job well done.
Yes, Pearson. Shout out to Pearson, man. We got some of the brightest minds at EYL University. He is a extremely bright young man. Very, very.
Yeah, Pearson, put your top 3 books in a chat as well, so we can do some digging. My man, like he double cross, tween, step back, cross.
He's like, so the inverted Greek yield curve on the astronomical data, and then the Swiss.
If this is your first episode, I don't get stumped. So
yeah, I got 80. I know I got ADD. Once he started saying curve, I started thinking about roller coasters. And then he went in with the Swiss and all of that and monetary fiscal policy.
That man hit me with 2 step backs, 2 crossovers, and a windmill.
Tap out, man. It's like UFC. Tap out. Janet, could we get one more question, please?
All right, let's go to Lou Rivera. Unmute yourself, please.
Lou, how are you?
Hey guys, I'm well. How are you?
Good. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Just give you guys flowers to begin. I've been at EYL a year now. What you guys are doing for the culture and Black and brown people cannot be overstated. You guys are phenomenal. What you guys are doing is, I just can't put into words. I thank you for taking the time and doing all that you do for everybody here.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah. My question isn't as deep as Jerry.
Jerry and Pearson different. Yeah.
Although on Pearson's, I just want to add one thing to Pearson, if I can. When I was listening to your question, the one thing that I did take away from is that as we're getting out of Afghanistan and, war, with war is usually means money and bonds, what that might have effect in terms of his equation when he's talking about the government. So that's just a quick,
As a result, you think the bond market will shoot up? Is that what you're saying?
Well, they're buying bonds every month, right? 120 billion, 140 billion. They have interest rates at a certain percentage right now. There's going to be some correlation between the two, in my opinion. I just don't know what it is. I would think that the bond rate would increase a bit, because in the first time in 2008, when we had the same issue going on and they started buying bonds, the one thing that I don't remember his name. He's the Minnesota chair Fed. He used to work for Karkashi. I forget his name. He said that what they learned then was how to trade long-term bonds later on. So this isn't their first rodeo. They learned from the first time. So that's just my quick
job well done.
Thesis on that. In terms of my question, the simple question, it'll be pretty simple for you, man. Currently, I'm liquidating my positions in the stock market because I have what you guys have mentioned before, 25, 30 different, I'm all over the place, but I'm diversified, and I want to get down to your thesis in terms of, two tech, two ETFs. I may do 4 and 4, but I'm trying to figure that out yet.
Yeah, 8 max is good.
My question is, so not in terms of actual money, percentage-wise, how do I draw down, and then how do I invest it moving forward? So
which ones are you in that you're thinking of cutting?
Oh man, I mean, I'm getting out of all kinds of stuff. I got out of like stupid stuff, MSG. I've gotten out of I almost got out of PayPal today, but I held off.
Why? Don't sell PayPal.
Yeah, why you getting out of PayPal? Why you getting out of PayPal?
Yeah.
Well, because I'm trying to get down to just the two. You
trying to skim the position?
Okay, I'll tell you this.
I'm trying to go from like 28 to like 8.
If you have 27 killers, though, this is smarter. You got to keep, PayPal. Like if it gets back to 24, 34, you can add to it, but hold on to PayPal. Like, what other ones do you have?
I'm in Tesla and Amazon, small, but it's long term. I'm not getting out of those. Those are like my legacy ones.
Okay.
I'm into Apple.
Keep that.
Yeah, I'm keeping that. Man, if I don't have my account open right now.
Which ones are losing you money? You can get rid of James Dolan, anything he does right now.
Yeah, I know. He pissed me off. I'm done with him. I have a few of the ETFs, like I buy a bunch of other stuff. I'm thinking about getting rid of those things so that we have some more resources to kind of put into something.
You trying to free up cash?
Yeah, I just want to get down to like that
manageable amount.
8.
Yeah.
You guys made a great point. I can't keep track of 28 different companies.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough. I'm all over the place. I'm bouncing back and forth. One day PayPal's doing great. The next day I have another one that's doing horrible. It's like, what am I doing? I'm just trying to concentrate on just 6 to 8, keep my focus on that and grow from there.
You have kids?
Yes.
This is the easiest thing to do. If your child's life was on the line, would you invest in that company for the next 10 years? It's real easy to cut after that. No
matter what age the kid is?
I know school just started back and you stressed. Brother, if you need some therapy or I can get you a massage and a gift card, you all right?
I'm good.
How old a kid?
20.
Yeah, I was really stupid at 20. Shout out to my mom and dad. I'm sorry I didn't take out the garbage. You told me to. You can throw the food on the floor and I'll eat off the floor. Yeah, kids are that crazy. But yes, if you don't want them to die and meet their maker soon, I would pick. I would probably let go of iBuy. I think iBuy is good, but if you're trying to get down to 8, I would probably free up some of that capital. But if you want to shoot me an email, ian@joinredpanda.com, and just put your name in all caps. Send me the ones you're in. I can be like the 8 that I would invest in.
Okay.
Help you out.
Yeah, I was definitely going to say iBuy probably something that you can let go. Things of that nature. You don't want to let go of like the FANG stocks. Definitely don't want to let go of like those Apple, Microsoft, things of that nature, Netflix, Google. But you got like some, a couple ETF that you're not really too sure about, and stuff like. Not to say that iBuy is bad, but I don't think that that's something that's like the core part of your portfolio. So you can definitely probably let go of that.
Yeah, definitely. So you said Ian@redpanda.com.
Ian@joinredpanda.com.
At joinredpanda. Okay, got it.
Yes.
I appreciate you guys very much. By the way, it was fire on Saturday. Listen to the financial planning call and yesterday's call with the going over the documentary, The Ascent of Money. Phenomenal. You guys are doing great. Just want to let you guys know that what you're doing is phenomenal.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Somebody gonna clip it up. Ian ass don't know nothing. He asked about one curve and he don't know. I can't wait. Somebody gonna have it up. One of them Forex traders. Stop being mad at me from episode 70. I love y'all. I want truce. I don't want no smoke. I want everybody to get along, get the bag. Namaste. And Best Fest on the 29th. Long-term swing, day trade, everything. Right. I'm learning. Yeah. You got to be likable.
Very, very important. It's very important. Usain Bolt told us that. Very important to be likable out here.